Another interesting design feature of the rear is the fact that the taillights are incorporated in the liftgate, which is against US regulations. So when the liftgate is actually open, you can see we have incandescent turn signals and lights down here in the bumper to make up for the fact that, well, yes, the actual taillights are pointed sky high right now. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is a 2025 Audi Q7 three-row luxury SUV. And in this video, I want to find out, is this better than a Genesis GV80? Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, the first thing I want to do is say a huge thank you to Audi for delivering this one to us to test for a full week here on the channel. Not only are you going to get this tour and acceleration test, but you're going to get a family review as well, where Holly gives her opinion from behind the steering wheel and Tucker gives his opinions from the back seat. And yes, we will install Tucker's child safety seat. But while we are up front here, I do want to talk about what motivates this Audi, because as I mentioned in the intro, this has a lot in common with that Genesis GV80 that I referenced in the intro that I kind of, okay, I'll spoil it. I kind of like better than this all the way around. Though this is no slouch either. The Genesis GV80 with its twin turbo V6 makes 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. But yeah, it is thirstier than this Audi's engine by about a couple mpgs across the board. So this is the more economical vehicle to drive long term and for long distances. While yes, this makes less power than the Genesis, you can get an SQ7 for even more power, so it's a wash. Though this is the most direct competitor to the GV80 in price, power, and configuration as this one sits. Our test model is in Samurai Gray with the black optics package, and I intentionally did not wash this one to show you how this thing weathers over time. We have put over 500 miles on this one so far, taking it to Houston and back in some terrible weather. And I just wanted to show you a little bit of how this looks after driving it. Don't worry, we've got some B-roll of when it was clean. But the black optics package gives you the black grille surround, the dark Audi rings here in the grille, and a few other dark accents, replacing the bright work, the chrome, the shiny bits on the non-black optic package. We get the LED headlights, running lights, turn lights, all the things. Very advanced headlight technology with a lot of warning, because we do actually have the laser headlight package on this one. And then coming down here, very interesting design for the intercooler up here. You've got this big, large cutout here with these faux cutouts to the side. Still does get a lot of air to cool off the intercooler up front. You've got your radar adaptive sensors up here, and just a generally nice, big, aggressive, in a German way, front end to this Q7. Yes, the front of the Q7 really does look very Audi, very German aggressive, but I really do like the presence, the stance it has here on the road. I would have picked some color. This does fall in the German rainbow, this Samurai Gray. I would have preferred some actual color, but again, this is a test loaner provided to us, so I can't be too picky, I guess, when it comes to my $80,000 luxury vehicles. Coming down to the wheels and tires, part of the black optic package are these 5-spoke, split-spoke, dark gray painted wheels. They are RS branded, as you can see by the valve stem, wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion Zero all-season tires. These are 285/40 R21s. So there's some decent sidewall to these large wheels, and they fill out the wheel wells very nicely on this one. Again, very nice stance to this vehicle. Its entire proportions look very good, but the further we get around to the side, it does have a little bit of a droopy butt. It just kind of slopes off into not my favorite back end design. It's kind of giving just a little minivan to me, if I am completely honest. Yeah, this rear quarter view just isn't the best, but as we pull around even further to the rear, you can see all LED taillights, the sequential turn signals back here. Very cool, very clean look. I have loved the Audi sequential signals for a very long time now, and this just shows you how much they really accentuate and elevate the overall presence back here in the back. I'm intentionally parked here in the shade so you can see the contrast of them. And then you can see black optics package gives us dark exhaust tips. They are very far out to the corners here, and just a bunch of dark accents on the back as well. The dark Audi rings, this black crossbar across the back, just a cleaned up but darked out overall trim package here in this one. I will go ahead and open the power rear hatch to expose the limited cargo space in this one. I say limited because we do have 3 rows of seats, and well, we'll get more into just how usable that 3rd row of seats is when we climb inside. You can see it is a 50-50 2-person 3rd row. They are power folding, and yes, we do have top tethers there on the back of them. We do have some nice features back here in that we can power fold them, the headrest power deploy or fold down. You can manually fold those headrests down if you want seats up but don't want the headrests up for better visibility. You can see we also have a nice place to store our seat belts when the seats are not in use. If the back seats are up, you can get a roller shade for this rear cargo area to give you just a little more privacy underneath the roller shade here. And then we do have a little bit of storage here on the side. I'll go ahead and move my backpack, because what is hiding under the load floor? Well, it's electronics. So not a whole lot glamorous going on down here. And interestingly enough, the way that this is packaged and designed is very un-German, because you can see here, it's kind of on a hinge, but kind of not. And when you actually pull it up, you've got to almost finagle it back into place. It is not very easy to do one-handed, but it can be done. That was more of a struggle than I needed it to be. Now we have decent space back here with the 3rd row of seats folded. If we want more, we can manually fold our 2nd row bench seat in this one. I really do like bench seats for their flexibility. Again, we will talk about just how configurable this vehicle is when we get inside, but let's normalize nice vehicles having bench seats in the middle too. Captain's chairs ain't all where it's at. And yes, even the Genesis I've referenced earlier in this video does in fact offer a bench seat there in the middle. Coming to me, you can see I've got plenty of headroom underneath the hatch. There is a nifty trick back here by the buttons to fold the power seats down that I haven't shown you quite yet, but yes, plenty of room underneath the hatch. The power buttons are right here, but let's check out that special button back here in the back. So yes, you saw the power fold buttons right there for the seats, but what is this right here? Well, this is for the adaptive air ride suspension, so you can actually make it easier to load stuff in the back by dropping the vehicle down if the vehicle is in its all-road or off-road position. So the vehicle is actually lowering right now. I can feel it lowering as I'm leaning my elbow on it, and it is just dropping down to have a better load-in height for me and for those who maybe, we'll say, vertically challenged. And yes, now this vehicle is sitting much lower. I will go ahead and show you just how low it is squatting down on those tires now. And yes, the hatch has gotten a lot closer to my head now. So yes, it is adjustable back here. Another interesting design feature of the rear is the fact that the taillights are incorporated in the liftgate, which is against US regulations. So when the liftgate is actually open, you can see we have incandescent turn signals and lights down here in the bumper to make up for the fact that, well, yes, the actual taillights are pointed sky high right now. Before I climb in this one, I do want to show you the key. It is your typical Audi key. I really do like how slender it is. Interesting that we don't have the Audi rings back here, but you can see we do have the panic button back here. We can deploy a physical key. And then we've got our hatch release, unlock, lock, and everything that you really need here, except for no remote start on the key fob itself. But given its compact size, it fits in my pocket very nicely, very easily, and you can keep it there because it is a proximity system with passive entry. You can lock it by pressing that spot right there on all 4 doors and unlock it by grabbing the back side of the door handle, again on all 4 doors, which I really like for a family vehicle, because if you're going to be loading a kid in a child seat, typically you open the back door first. But we'll come up here to the front door, open it up. You can see our mirrors fold in when it is locked. They do not unfold until the vehicle is started. As we open the door, you can see we've got the black, the dark interior in this one. It's not my favorite combination. It's just, again, the German rainbow, all shades of gray and black, but it is still nice. It is a premium leather here, Valcona cricket interior as they call it. And you can see we have express windows all the way around. We have individual window lockouts for each rear window, which is very interesting back here in the back. You have your mirror controls. You can see they are heated. Outboard mirrors, rear view mirrors. We do have 2-person seat memory, and our door lock button is right there. It's a nice enough design for the door panel, but there is no like grab handle storage because we have these pistol grip style grab handles. You can see we have our hatch button right there, a little bit of storage down here, but it's all hard plastic, so if you put anything in there, it may rattle around on you. Moving down here to the seat controls, we have multi-way positional seats with massage. Quick access button for that massage is right there, which I really like. And you can see we do have a power thigh extender, which is very nice. Again, really nice premium leather seats. They are heated and they are ventilated, which is very nice. Come in handy for us on our long trip in our bipolar Texas weather. We went down to Houston when it was in the 70s, just a few days after they had quite a few inches of snow. So yes, bipolar Texas winter for sure. Hopping in and closing the door, go ahead and zoom out a little for you here. The engine start button is actually over here. I'm going to put my foot on the brake and start it up. You can see our mirrors extend. We get some dings. The V6 roars to life, and I've got tons of screens in front of me, like literally 4 screens. And here, now you can see all 4 of them. I have a head-up display up here that we will show you briefly that has all the pertinent information, your lane keep, your speed, posted speed limit, things like that. Makes it very easy to navigate around in this. Then we have a nice fully digital Audi digital cockpit here, though the fuel gauge and the engine temperature over here are hidden from view. Let's see, I'll give you my view. No, still not yet. That is my view when driving, and you can see I cannot see the fuel gauge, but that is okay because Audi does give you a fuel range right up here up top. So that has really been what I've been watching, more so than the fuel gauge itself. Go ahead and zoom back out. There is a lot of gloss black in this one. So if gloss black is your enemy, this is not the car for you. Tons of gloss black extending from right here all the way across the front and down to the center console. Just so much gloss black. We will start over my left knee here to talk about some of the features in here. We have some gloss wood accents. Your lighting controls are all haptic touch areas here. You can turn them on to auto, but your full readout is right there. You don't get fog lights, but you get what Audi calls all-weather lights in this. So you can turn your all-weather lights on. No real fogs on this one. And then moving down even lower, we get this very interesting felt-lined, not damped, storage cubby right here. I guess this could actually be just for gloves, a glove box, if you will, because we all know we don't actually keep gloves in our actual glove boxes anymore, but very interesting place for such a large storage bin. I'll go ahead and show you just how big that storage area is. I'm very surprised at just how much space is hidden here over my left knee and how well they treat it with that felt lining. I will go ahead and show you right here. The cruise control is managed by this stalk right here. You adjust your speed by going up and down. You can set it this way and adjust your follow distance with that right there. If you do it just a little bit, it goes up by 1. If you do it by a lot, it goes up by 5s, which departs a little bit from some of the last Audis that we've been in that go by 2.5 mile per hour increments, which I'm sorry, is just the most German thing. Very nice steering wheel, very sporty, leather wrapped. It is heated, and you can see we get some controls on it for our screen right here, for our driver assistance, for our cell phone, connectivity, and the like. I will go ahead and scroll through just a few of the things right here. Short-term memory, again, such a German way to say a trip computer. And then long-term memory, you can see in our 493 miles of logged mileage in this one, we've gotten 23.4 mpg, which again, most of that has been highway, but we have driven around the city since we've gotten back. I drove around Houston a while we were there as well. And then just a few other things here. This driver fatigue monitor, again, the trip down to Houston is about 3.5, 4 hours. As I was nearing my hotel, I got a little warning here that perhaps I should take a break. So I thought I'd bring that up for you as well. You can also hit these arrow buttons right here and go through different driver information screens here from your navigation to your phone. You can also change what is displayed right here. You can change just what is shown, how much is shown by pushing through the buttons here. And each little screen gives a different view. I'm going to zoom out just a bit. You can hit this view button and it changes the look of it. So as you pan through your different screens, you have a little more emphasis on that center section. And when you go to your map, you absolutely get more map real estate with this view here. But then you can make it smaller. But yeah, it really just depends on what you want to see and how much of it you want to see. But you can zoom in here with this roller wheel as well, which is pretty cool. But I've generally left it on long-term memory during our time with it. Again, we've got the head-up display. And then moving over here, even more screen real estate over here. All the gloss black, all the fingerprints do become a problem up here on this screen here. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The Audi MMI interface here. What's very interesting is you actually have to like push and you get haptic feedback on all of these buttons. Even if you want to go into, say, your screen mirroring, your phone mirroring, you have to like push to actually get that feedback. You can't just tap. So you really have to be intentional with what you want here. And some of these are just a little bit more aggressive than others. You can see there's a lot of customization you can do here through the MMI, the virtual cockpit, and the like. But again, you really have to be intentional when pushing on any of these buttons. That translates down here to the smaller 8-inch comfort screen, as I've been calling it, because it mostly is your HVAC and comfort controls. You can see we have dual zone front, but we will go ahead and hit this, and dual zone rear climate controls. So quad zone climate here in this, but to get to the rear, you kind of take over that top screen. Again, it's a little bit frustrating just how much they do and don't do through all the screens that we have here in this one. And then you can see we've got some digital poverty buttons here on the sides. Why they couldn't figure out how to equally spread the space here is beyond me. You can see we also have this drop down here. You have your home link and various different things that you can configure through these buttons up here. But we'll go ahead and say no to all that. You can turn the screens off. You have downhill descent control, some parking features, your engine start, stop, defeat in traffic right there to save fuel. And then down here, we have heated and ventilated front seats. You can see they respond to my touch, but they don't do anything until I actually press them. And then they do that German thing that I like so much. You can do the heat and ventilation simultaneously. So if you need just a little bit more than perhaps heat or ventilation, you can do them both. Add on top of that the massage, and you are really off to the races. I can say that I may have done that on our trip to Houston and back. Speaking of the seat massage, you can see the button on the side of the seat triggers this screen right here. Again, to actually do any of these, you have to press into them, and you can see the intensity is through mode, and this overrides any screen that you're on until either you click off of it or it goes away. So it does linger up there for quite some time. We do get some physical buttons right down here for safety and parking. Your parking cameras, really good, clear, crisp cameras in this. I am very happy with just how good the camera system is in this. And there are lots of cameras. My wife joked that this looked like Severance going from the fisheye to the flattened version of this image. But tons of different cameras. You can see out the front, out the back. You can see your front tires, your rear tires. You can see all the way around you. Very, I like how it even labels it when the shortcuts go away. But front tires, rear tires, lots of different screen options here for seeing through your cameras. Of course, when you put it in reverse, it does trigger the cameras automatically. The parking sensors do not automatically trigger your camera. They trigger a little screen here that just show, based on your parking sensors, where the object is, and you have these shortcut buttons to turn your camera on if you want it. Very interesting. I just wish it automatically triggered my camera, but I guess that they are saving the extra screen real estate for, say, your Apple CarPlay or whatever you may have been on prior to. Your volume, your tuning, so it's a knob for volume, a joystick for tuning, and a power button to turn the audio on and off. I already talked about the engine start stop button. We get two German sized cup holders right here. These are not American sized cup holders. They do have spring loaded grippers in them. This little spot right here is a perfect spot for the Audi key, but I don't know anyone, and you can sound off in the comments, but I don't know anyone who actually puts their key in the center console, takes it out of their pocket or purse to do this with it. Just why? Especially on a proximity key. I don't know anyone that does it. You do get some additional power right here, a cigarette lighter style 12 volt right there. 8-speed Tiptronic automatic. It's not my favorite actualization, this electronic gear selector. It's been a little temperamental, to say the least. And then we have an electronic park brake. You can see all the gloss black. We're getting little scratches, little dust, little fingerprints. Again, that is the entirety of the interior, it feels like, here in this one. So again, if gloss black is your nemesis, this car may too be your nemesis. You get a little rubberized storage right here underneath the lift, no latch, but lift cover for the center console. Very shallow Qi wireless charger here, a little bit of felt lined storage here, two USB-C ports for charging or interface with the MMI system. And then we'll go ahead and close this. You may have seen there is a lever under here. You can pull it up and forward, which gives you a little bit better armrest and hides what's down underneath here. It does also lift up, so if you have like a cell phone sitting here, that's not too big of a deal. Just thought I'd call that out. Over here, we do have some additional storage in that door, and then a felt lined damped glove box right here, which is very nice, very large as well. So Audi really has done a lot for storage under the dash in this vehicle. Very interesting packaging in here, to be sure. Up here we get our controls for our LED lights. You just touch the lights and they come on. Our power sunroof here, which I'll show you in just a moment. You can turn all the lights on if you'd like. I've been joking about just how sunny a day it is. I've had to move the vehicle a couple times to get out of the glare, and we do have a very massive panoramic glass roof with a motorized shade and an aluminum front guide rail on the shade as well. That is the nicest roller shade I think I've ever seen. We have a deep tinted 2-pane glass roof here, very large opening section right above me here as the driver, and a secondary switch to open the glass part. That is something that this Audi definitely has over the Genesis. The Genesis combines the glass roof and the sunshade switch all into one, to where if you accidentally pull it too far back on a misty day, you're gonna open everything and then be freaking out trying to close it, and then you'll close everything. But you can see we do get a nice wide opening glass portion here, which I like a lot. Coming to me at 5'10", I do have the seat down in its furthest position. I've got plenty of headroom here in the front seat, but let's check out and see what those back seats are like, especially sitting behind myself here at 5'10". Coming up to the back doors, I already touched on, we have proximity with passive entry on all doors, which I really like. You can lock, unlock from the back doors, all very nice. When you open the doors, you can see similar design to the front, but we get built-in sunshades here, which I really like, which you get in the GV80, but they are power sunshades unless you get the GV80 Coupe. And then these back doors have a feature that I have not seen in a vehicle since my first car in my 1991 Cadillac Eldorado. And that's right here. Very interesting ashtray in the door. I would much rather a grab handle or something, a little bit larger storage. Very small, you could only put perhaps a few coins there if you're gonna store anything other than ashes, but ashtray, right? Am I crazy? I mean, it comes out so you can empty it, so that's an ashtray, right? Very interesting option in the back door here. We do have a little bit of storage down low. And then, as I've already shown you, we have a bench seat here in the second row, which I actually prefer. We'll talk a lot about that here in just a moment, but very nice leather seating back here as well. Same contour and design, but again, it's just kind of bland in color. There are other color options. We'll go ahead and climb in behind myself at 5'10". You can see plenty of legroom in the seat's standard position. We get some nets on the back of the front seats. You can see I already talked about the quad zone climate control in this. We have heated outboard seats, which is very nice. And then you can actually lock it out. So if we've got a kid back here, which we typically do, he can be locked out so that he's not playing with it too much and just going crazy. Down low, we have some additional USB-C and 12-volt power outlets down low, which I really like. Very large center tunnel in this. Again, quattro all-wheel drive. So that is a thing. And then I'll go ahead and show you, there is a bar right here. You can slide these seats forward. I still have a decent amount of leg room back here. This will come in handy as we move to the back. You can see this is only for this seat. The center seat does move, but we'll talk about that here in just a moment, because I do want to show you, we do have a fold down armrest with cup holders, although very German sized cup holders. And then you can fold this center seat down as well. There we go. I knew it was on here somewhere. You pull that lever and you can fold the seat down. It is currently resting on the armrest of Tucker's seat, but it can be done. You can see you also get some straps back here to fold it down. That is the seat's most upright position. In fact, that is all three seats here in the second row's most upright position. But I did want to call that out. I'm going to recline it just a little bit to fit with the rest. One thing I really do like is we have lower latches all the way across all three seats, but a very interesting one-piece cover that pops into place over them. So yeah, you're going to be keeping up with a very large piece of seating material if you've got a child seat in place. If you want to see me install this, I do a point of view installation video here in this row. And in the second row, be sure and hit subscribe so you see our family review when it drops. Another nice feature here, not only do we have air vents on the back of the center console, but we have them in the B-pillars, much like the Genesis I keep bringing up in this video. Coming to me, do I look comfortable right now? No, it's because I'm not. I'm in the seat's most upright position. You can see My hat is touching the roofline, but this is not where any normal person would ride. This is more the level of recline. Again, I showed you that all 3 seats here do recline in the second row, which is very nice. But we'll move over here to the center seat. It's a little firmer, a little different seating position for sure. Go ahead and show you here. My feet sit on the center console nicely. I don't have to straddle, but it does bring my knees up a little bit higher. So you could put 3 back here. You could put 3 adults back here in a pinch, and it's actually quite usable. You better like everybody here in this second row, but it can be done. Having 2 hands to move it actually made it a lot easier, but the center seat does also move forward all by itself. So this 40-20-40 split second row is not just the seat back, but the seat bottom as well, making it very configurable for people in all 3 rows, which I much prefer. Speaking of all 3 rows, what is it like getting into the third row? Well, you can see we do have this handle right here for moving the seat forward and back. We're going to go ahead and do that, and the seat folds down, and then we have this button right here, or latch lever. You pull that, get a little beep to let the driver know that this is happening, but it tumbles up out of the way to allow you to get into that 50-50 2-person rear seat. And we'll go ahead and say before I climb in, we do have lower latches here in the third row as well. But unlike the second row, we get individual covers. So that is going to be a whole lot easier to keep up with and maintain than the large single piece covers we have in all 3 seats here in the middle row. But we'll go ahead and do our best to climb in here. Oh, bonk, bonk, bonk. And yeah, this is an emergency seat at best. You can see with the second row all the way back exactly what you're dealing with here. It is a tight seat. You don't get a lot of amenities. We've already looked back here. You get some cup holders, hard plastic armrests, carpeted sides. You have the places to hide your seat belts when they're not in use. And coming around over to here, still no power, all the same amenities. And this is me at 5'10". So yes, it is a tight pinch, though if you pull that bar right there and slide the seat forward, you do get a little bit more legroom back here, which I am going to go ahead and fold this seat forward, try and get it out of the way just a little bit to show you exactly what it looks like for me sitting back here like this. So you can see I've got a nice little angle to my knees there, but there is no way that I'm sitting here without asking the second row passengers to move forward just a bit. But given how much room I was able to find from that second row seat, it is possible, it is doable, but yes, this is a bonus seat, an emergency seat at best. Coming to me, well, we've got a little headroom problem. Not the worst. I actually have space for my head, but just enough space for my head, so there is that. I did want to call your attention to one more feature here in this one, and that is right next to my leg here. You can power fold the second or the third row seats down from right here. So if you're standing at the side of the vehicle, you can fold the third row of seats down, no problem. That even works if somebody is sitting in them. They unfortunately don't recline any, so there's no added benefit to these buttons right here for passengers. But say you're climbing in and you forgot that the rear seats were down, you can put them back up. Or if you just need to throw some items back there and want the seats down, you can fold them down. All that made very convenient from the wheel well right here. And that feature is available on both sides of the vehicle, but with Tucker's child seat in place and given how the seats get out of the way to climb in the third row, there are some limitations to just how configurable this interior really is when you are using it for a family. Again, if you want to know more about how this worked for our family, hit that subscribe button. That's enough of a tour of this one. I want to show you a little bit of the interface with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto before we set off and talk about how this one drives and performs. Now that I have the cameras up and can move my hands a little bit more and I'm not filming on my phone, I can show you a little bit more how this works. So again, CarPlay to access it, you have to like push on these buttons. And even still, like, why are you not doing it, Audi? There we go. Now that I'm in CarPlay, I don't have to push the buttons like that. So I can go straight to my podcast without having to push in. I can go to multiple different screens, my audiobooks, and listen to stuff that way without having to press in. I can go listen to whatever I was listening to last without having to press in very hard. So I really do like that a whole lot. And then down here, we do have some more haptic buttons in our Drive Select that I do want to talk about. So we have Off-Road, All-Road, Comfort, Auto, Dynamic, and Individual. All of these do adjust the adaptive air ride suspension in this. So if I go off-road, gonna have to push in all the way. If I go off-road, it raises me not to the highest ride height, but the next to highest, and I can feel the vehicle kind of working its way up from there. But we're going to go ahead and go into auto, actually dynamic, because as we set off in this one, I do want to test the Audi claimed 0 to 60 time of 5.5 seconds. Go ahead and put this thing in drive. I will thank our partners in Racebox for supplying me with this GPS race timer. It does lap times, it does 0 to 60 runs. It is a really cool unit that you can have for yourself with a discount thanks to our partnership with them. All information down in the video description below. Putting this in dynamic mode, I can absolutely tell you the ride is firmer. It is firmed up quite a bit, and it is not quite as floaty and cushy as what we'll talk about later when we get moving. But we're going to come to a complete stop here. I'm going to turn the auto start stop off, firm on the brake, firm on the accelerator, and drop that brake, and we are off. 2 seconds to 30 and 5.71 to 60 here. Not bad. Again, not on a prep surface. Now that we're done with our initial run, I'm going to go ahead and put it back into comfort, where I have lived with this vehicle most of the time. Again, I just rolled over 500 miles on the odometer from taking this to Houston and back. I have been in this seat quite a bit, and that's where I want to start. These seats, they're firm, like a little too firm. They're hard and are not my favorite by any means. You get in and it's like, that's not great. But you push this button right here, you get the display on the screen that overrides anything you're looking at. And yes, now I have my massage function, which makes up for it a little bit. The seat bottom itself is still a little hard, but yeah, I mean, can't be perfect, I guess. And then driving this thing around. I've lived with this thing in the city, both here in Tyler and down in Houston. I have driven through rain. I have driven through clear skies. I have driven in night and in the day. I have taken it down curvy roads. I have taken it down highways. I have lived with this vehicle, and for the most part, I enjoy how it drives and behaves and performs. The 8-speed Tiptronic, seamless. Haven't felt it, like, ever. Once. Very nice. The engine, very powerful when it's on. Again, it's a little aggressive when it shuts off, but you can defeat that with the button right there. It felt plenty powerful. It's very fuel efficient. I was impressed when I looked at the range when this was delivered to us. Over 500 miles of range. We actually made it to and from Houston on essentially 1 tank of gas. We didn't want to sweat it coming into Tyler, so we did top off at a Buc-ee's. And if you live in Texas or the South, if you know, you know. But yes, very comfortable, very long haul, capable in this one, especially if you turn those massage seats on, which you're gonna wanna do. Otherwise, driving this around in the city, in city traffic, 4-wheel steering makes this thing fairly maneuverable, though there have been a few instances where I'm like, I thought this had 4-wheel steering. So I don't know, it's not the perfect application of it, but I did know from just setting off in this the first time, turning onto Broadway here in Tyler, Texas, I'm like, oh, that felt like the back end kind of swung out on me. So I knew just from the seat feel that this had four-wheel steering, and did confirm with the Monroney that is an option on this vehicle, but very glad to have it on this one. Four-wheel steering, air ride suspension, four-wheel drive, all make for a very great overall performance package in this. I have enjoyed it for how we've used it, more so as an SUV than a performance SUV. It has been a fun vehicle to drive. I have not complained too much other than the copious amounts of gloss black in this and the, well, cinder block like seat bottom and firm seat back in this. Yes, I have felt more comfortable perhaps in stadium bleachers than my initial seat time here in this Q7. It's a shame for a vehicle with a price tag that starts with an 8. Yes, this one is priced very similarly to the GV80 I've brought up multiple times in this video, and it does a lot of things differently than the Genesis. If you're really comparing the two of these, I'll say Audi has the longer brand recognition, heritage, and reliability than something like a newcomer like Genesis with its Korean roots and the fact that it's tied to the Hyundai brand. There are some that are saying, well, it's just, they aren't there yet. I will say, though, the curb appeal to me definitely rests with the Genesis over this Audi. And then same with climbing inside of it. I would say just the overall appeal on the inside. I definitely like the Genesis over this Audi a little bit more. You got the big screen in the Genesis, less gloss black in the Genesis, nicer colored tones and materials in the Genesis than this. This really does feel like the Audi or German rainbow here inside. It's multiple levels of dark in here, and I don't know, it just doesn't scream as premium when you get inside. Sure, this has full massage seats for both front seats in this Audi, whereas you only get the Ergo Motion driver's seat in the Genesis. You also get the four-wheel steering in this, which you don't get in GV80. And the Air Ride adaptive suspension in this is a little more aggressive, more adaptive, I guess is the correct term, than the adaptive suspension in the Genesis. Though I really do like the road preview available to us in that Genesis. It's constantly watching the road in front of you to see exactly how it needs to adjust or adapt to upcoming road conditions. But I would say the steering and suspension in this Audi definitely bests the Genesis. The massage seat bests the Genesis. The fuel economy and range bests the Genesis, though horsepower and torque sadly do not. But then again, there is that Q7 that you can go for if you're really looking for some performance from the four-ring brand. All right, setting off now down some curvier roads and with a little more spirited driving nature, I can talk about how this thing does perform. In comfort mode, as I'm in now, the suspension is floaty, but not floaty boaty, if that makes any sense. You definitely kind of waft over imperfections in the pavement, but you don't feel them. It isn't herky-jerky. It doesn't really upset you. And it isn't so much so floaty that you get like seasick riding up here, but definitely not as firm as if I were to go down here into dynamic, which definitely firms it up. I can tell instantaneously that the suspension has gotten firmer and holds me in corners a little bit better than in comfort. So this thing is sporty to drive as long as you know what drive mode to be in and yeah, set off in the right direction. It also changes throttle mapping and positioning, your Tiptronic 8-speed shift points, things like that. So it does make it a little more sporting of a drive than in comfort mode, which really is for highway cruising. Again, something I've done a lot of in our time with this Q7 so far over the past week. But yeah, I can say piloting this thing quickly down some curvy back roads, you definitely feel that it is firmer. You can tell that it's firmer just from the way it sounds in here going over bumps. You don't get any rattles or vibrations. It's not like it's harsh by any means, but yeah, you can tell it firms it up, and it is a noticeably different vehicle in here at speed, going around big sweeping corners like this versus what I were to do if I were in comfort. You would get a lot more body roll in comfort. You would definitely not want to do the same speeds down this road in comfort mode as in dynamic. But yeah, it's been a fun, comfortable ride in all modes, just knowing where I'm in, what I'm doing, and tailoring it to that specific situation. Now that we are at the end of the curvy bit, we can test the 0 to 60 a couple more times in this. Tires have warmed up a little bit. We'll see if we can best our 5.7 0 to 60 run in this. I'm still in dynamic mode. We are going uphill slightly. We'll turn around, come downhill for the last run, but firm on the brake, firm on the accelerator. We'll let it rev up and we'll drop the brake. Off we go. It does throw you back 2.08 seconds. Yep, this one's going to be slower, 5.91 seconds, going slightly uphill in this one. And yes, I already know I can best my 5.91 turning around and going slightly downhill, but I'm going to put it in comfort mode. I'm not going to brake torque it. I'm going to see just what a general end user would be like trying to drive this quickly, merge onto the highway or whatever. So I am now in comfort. We'll come to a full stop here, fully on the brake, and I'm just going to move over to the accelerator, mash it. So ready, set, here we go. Did take it a little while to realize what's going on. Got a little turbo lag. Definitely realize it is a different vehicle, not in dynamic mode. And yes, we get 6.41 just going from the brake to the accelerator in comfort mode. So if you're interested what this would be like merging onto the highway or whatnot, there you go. This is definitely not the last Audi we had. The last Audi had a price tag that started with a 1 and was 6 figures and did 0 to 60 runs in under the Audi claimed 3.3 seconds. I was able to get 3.1 in a little bit better conditions than what I'm testing here today. I absolutely loved that RS wagon. I would have that thing in a heartbeat if I had a different driveway and the 6 figures to plop down on it. It was a very fun vehicle all the way around. Better driving dynamics than this Q7 SUV. Definitely more power, definitely more acceleration. That thing would make you car sick from just how quick it would accelerate. But here on these curvy roads in comfort mode, yes, we're getting some body roll, we're getting some body lane. I'm definitely reminded I am in an SUV that isn't an RS anything, even if those wheels are RS branded. That is about it for my time here with this Q7. If you want to see more from me from this vehicle, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell, because Holly will be behind the wheel in our next video. Tucker will be in the back seat. I'll install his child safety seat. We'll talk all about how this worked for our family on our road trip in that video. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com, where you will find links to everything from there. I need to turn my massage seat back on, but as for me in this luxurious 3-row vehicle from Audi, until next time, gearheads, bye. Yeah, definitely not the same vehicle in comfort mode. Much more body roll. I could see getting car sick, maybe even in the driver's seat. going around these corners like I'm driving now. Whoa. Yeah,